Hello class, go ahead and stop the video and complete the warm-up. I will be with you in a minute. Alright, let's go and take a look at number one. So solve the following for n. You have a straight angle which measures 180 degrees. And when you count up your total number of n's, you see that you have 4. Total number of negatives, you have negative 20. So it's 180 is equal to 4n minus 20. Add 20 to both sides, you wind up getting 200, and then bring your 4n down because the 20 is on the right side with the 4n cancel out. And you divide both sides by 4 and wind up with an answer of n is equal to 50. And you can see where I plugged it back into the equation and it made the statement true. Number two, simplify the following. You have distributive and combining. So if you combine your 3's, you get 9. That 3 times a negative is a negative 3x. Bring the negative 4, the negative 5x down. Add the 9, or take the 9 and the negative 4. You got more positives, that's going to give you 5. The negative 3 and the negative 5, just add them together and get negative 8x. You can also write negative 8x plus 5. 3. A rectangular playground has a width of 12 and a length of 8 if it's enlarged or made bigger with a scale factor of 1.5. What is the area of the new playground? So I drew a rectangle that had the dimensions of 12 by 8. I multiplied each dimension by 1.5 and it gave me new dimensions of 18 by 12. So now I know the dimensions of the new enlarged rectangle. The formula for area is area equals length times width. 18 times 12 should give me 216 square feet. Number 4, solve the following. 4x plus 12 divided by 3 is the same as 8. I'm going to resolve the denominator of 3 out of this equation. So if I multiply it by both sides, I get 4x plus 12 is equal to 24. This sets me up for a two-step equation. I subtract 12 from both sides. So now I bring the 4x down. 24 minus 12 is 12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and x should be equal 3. And if you go back into the equation, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay. So we're going to be taking a look at how can inequalities be solved. So we're going to answer a few questions, and the question that we're answering is, does the sign flip? And we base that on the coefficient. So we ask the question, is the coefficient negative? Identify the coefficient. Look at whether it's negative or positive. It is negative, so it is. Will it flip? Yes. I want you to take the next one. You're going to answer the same question. As I reveal each question, I want you to stop the video, write your answer down, and then we're going to go over each one. All right, get ready. 4a minus 18 is greater than negative 24. Is the coefficient negative? Will it flip? All right, so I'm going to go in and identify my coefficient, and it looks like the coefficient is positive this time. So the answer to this one is no. It is not negative. And no, it will not flip. Next one. 13 is greater than equal to 15 minus x. Is the coefficient negative? Will it flip? I'm going to go in and identify my coefficient variable. And as I look, I can see that it's a negative variable, so it does have a negative coefficient of 1. So the answer to this question is yes. And yes, it will flip. Next question. 18 less than 4x plus 12. Negative coefficient, will it flip? All right, as I go in and take a look, I can see that 4x, I have a positive coefficient, so no, it does not have a positive coefficient, and no, it will not flip. Negative 6a minus 5 is less than or equal to 12. Negative coefficient, will it flip? As I look at my coefficient variable combination here, I can see that I have a negative 6, so it does have a negative coefficient, and yes, it will flip. Last one. Negative n divided by 4 plus 8 is greater than 43. Negative coefficient, negative, does it flip? As I go into this problem and look at it, the thing I know about negative signs and fractions is this. It can have the negative sign at the numerator, the fraction bar, or at the denominator, but it means that the entire fraction is negative. So the answer to this is yes, and it will flip. If you got all of these correct, pat yourself on the back, you did a good job. All right, so let's take a look at some sample problems here, starting with the one on the right. You have 3x minus 11 is less than or equal to negative 38. First thing I ask myself is, do I have a negative coefficient? And this answer is yes. The first thing I need to do is to flip that sign. So it goes from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. I'm going to add 11 to both sides. Cancel these out. The negative 3x comes down. Now I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to take that negative 38 plus 11 and see what I get. And I get negative 27. I'm going to divide both sides by that negative 3. These cancel out. The x comes down. The inequality comes down. And then the answer for this, that's a negative divided by a negative, so I should get a positive 9. If I plug this back into the equation, negative 3 times 9 gives me negative 27, minus 11 does give me negative 38, so it does make it true. So in my solution set, it says that a number is greater than or equal to 9. So 9 is the first number in that solution set because it said it's equal to it. Now I'm looking for numbers that are greater than 9. 21 is greater than 9. 37.5 is greater than 9. 90 is greater than 9. And I can stop there. All right, the problem on the left, we got 16 is greater than 4x plus 12. Stop the video, give this one a try, and I'll be back with you. Okay, again, I asked the question, is my coefficient negative or positive? And it looks like in this particular case, it is positive, so I don't flip the sign. I leave it as is. I'm going to subtract 12 this time from both sides. And that should give me 4. And I'm going to bring the 4x down and divide both sides by 4. So I should get x is equal, or not equal to, but x is greater. Let me rephrase that. It should be 1 is greater than x. Now my solution set, I need to think about what numbers would be greater, well, 1 would be greater than what numbers. So 1 is definitely greater than 0.5. It's greater than negative 30. It's greater than negative 27.5. So those are would be your solution sets. Okay, we're going to try one more on this side. Let's take the one on the right. I want you to stop the video, give it a try. I feel pretty confident the one on the left, you can get this one because it's pretty straightforward. It's just like the last one we worked. But this one looks a little bit like the one we worked for the warm-up. The only difference is that the negative 8 is not connected. So what we're going to have to do is treat it like a two-step equation. All right, so what we're going to do is isolate that coefficient variable. And you can see that the coefficient is positive, so we don't change the sign. So we're going to leave it as less than. We're going to add 8 to both sides. So that should give me 12. I'm going to bring the n divided by 3 down. So now I have a one-step equation. N divided by 3, to resolve it, I need to multiply both sides by 3. So the 3's cancel out, and now we have n by itself, and 12 times 3 is 36. I'm going to put 36 back into the equation to make sure that it's correct. So we got 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. So 36 is the correct answer. Now, as far as our solution sets, we're looking for numbers that 36 is less than. And we don't include 36 in the solution set, so it will be 35, 2, negative 18. So none of those numbers are less than 36. The work for today is a bit.ly. You're going to be working on inequalities again. Just remember the things you need to look out for is check each inequality. Make sure that you're solving using that negative coefficient and asking yourself, does it flip? And then check your work with the answer key provided in class. But make sure that the way that you can check it at your seat is by plugging the number back into the equation and then just writing it out or solving it out on your calculator as a regular problem with numbers. And if it makes it true, then you know you got it right. So whether you're using the answer sheet or not, or your calculator, you have 2 ways of checking now, at your seat and at the check-in station. All right, so the bit.ly address is following. It's bit.ly/SMITH222, and just complete that, and you're shooting for 100%. Okay. So real quick before we finish up, let's take a look at this extra ticket. You got negative 2a plus 12 is greater than or less than equal to negative 36. Again, we identify that coefficient variable. We know we're going to flip the sign, and we're going to just subtract 12 from both sides. That should give me 24, or negative 24. Nope, shouldn't give me negative 24. Those are both negative signs. So that should give me negative 48. So we're going to take the negative 2a, then divide both sides by the same value coefficient. So I know that this is going to give me a positive answer. So a number is greater than equal to 24. So the first number in the solution set is going to be 24. And then we're just looking for numbers greater than 24. So we got 87, 93, 105. Any of those numbers will work. All right, guys, good luck on your work. Make sure you show your work on these problems. Have a good afternoon.